And we are theoretically live on YouTube. Every time I do these live streams, it freaks me out a little bit because of the way the technology works, and there's not an easy way to make it really clear when you're actually live and what's streaming and when it's streaming and who it's streaming to. But we've clicked the buttons, and in theory, should be live for everybody to start asking your questions. I'm going to be on here for about 24 minutes on here live, answering as many questions as I can. And then I'm heading over to Patreon to do an hour-long Q&A over on Patreon. I do that almost every Saturday on Patreon, normally 10 to 20 people, so I can answer everybody's questions. Join at any level, and you can be a part of those weekly Q&As. And with that said, let's dive into it. Maxim NIE, who is your favorite actor ever? I really actually don't like picking favorites. That is, I make lists so people assume I like to pick favorites. I don't. But based off what my wife has said and other things, I normally say my favorite actor is Sylvester Stallone. Just love the Rocky character. Grew up on his movies, and so many things about him kind of makes him my favorite actor of all time. Uh, Jeremy Haney, which YouTubers are your greatest inspirations? That's always tough to say because you can mean a bunch of different things by that. The backstory of my journey of getting into kind of the movie YouTube community probably starts going back to John Campea. The predecessor to Movie Talk was something called For Your Consideration, a monthly podcast he did. And that's where I first started watching that. And then that turned into Movie Talk, and I discovered Jeremy Johns and Chris Stuckman. And that's kind of the journey to where I started talking about movies, and the people that kind of influenced me on my journey along the way. As for kind of YouTube expert type kind of people I follow, video creators, Sean Cannell of Think Media, been watching a lot of Gary V, kind of amp you up type stuff. Simon Sinek talks. Actually, literally 30 seconds ago before I started watching, before I clicked the stream button for this, I was listening to Simon Sinek talk. So those are some things that I watch on YouTube that are kind of to inspire me in what I do, or where I started doing all this. Hype, Hiccup Son. Do you like Spaceballs? I kind of grew up watching Spaceballs because it came out right as I started being aware of movies coming out. Of course, watched Star Wars. I get a kick out of it. I've never been bananas for Spaceballs. I've never been someone that was like, this thing is just absolutely amazing. I've never been that person, but I've always enjoyed it. I haven't watched it in, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. So I don't have a fresh viewing to give you. When you think Sean Chandler talks about film critic guy, that guy has never really seen it. My critical skills, I haven't watched it in a long time. So probably need to give it another watch so I can have a more modern take on it. Connor May, what are your thoughts on physical media? I'm assuming you're talking about these things back here versus just streaming services and digital. I knocked something over. The simple answer to it is the simple fact that I do my Blu-ray hauls and buy Blu-rays every month means I'm a fan of physical media. There's a couple reasons for that. Number one is that I like to have a physical thing for it. If you've been around the block enough times, you just know that services change from time to time. Things get lost. Movies on streaming services get pushed away, taken off the service. So I like to have something that I own it. It's right there. Now, of course, 10 years from now, these Blu-rays are 50% already obsolete. So there's some of that kind of happens, but I like to have something. Second, when it comes to streaming anything, internet just isn't reliable enough. And like I have a good provider where I'm at, but it's not that reliable. So I like to have something I can just go back to that's safe. It's there. I own it. It's in my hands. I don't have to worry about something like that. With that said, I love to have a digital copy. I love that these days I can both have my disc, so my internet goes down, I've still got it. I've got a physical copy if the services change, and I love to have a digital copy, so then I just have this huge archive that on all my devices I can watch whenever I want. Got some super chats. First one on here, Carter Lovejoy. Favorite Studio Ghibli film? I wish I could give you a better answer, but I haven't really seen hardly any Studio Ghibli films. I am not the way that I process movies is very much straightforward, non-metaphoric. I'm the art side of things. I'm just not wired a lot in that way. So then, what is it? Was it not Swept Away? The one from 18 years ago. It's like Swept Away or Carried Away. I'm forgetting the name of it at this moment. But watched that with my buddy Andy about a year ago, and I can respect all the talent in the drawings and everything. But when he's like, did you catch the metaphors? I was like, kind of, but I don't care. Like, I'm just not wired that way at all. And people like write all these detailed things about, oh, did you miss this and this symbolism? That stuff just does not in any way excite me about cinema. I do not fire on those cylinders at all. That is not who I am. So, unfortunately, I can't give you a more satisfying answer. Adam Grunther, what are your thoughts on Gotham? So I've seen all but the last season and a half of Gotham. And it was one of those ones that I watched through 3.5 seasons, 4.5 seasons, wherever it was. And then they had a season break or whatever, and I got too busy. I didn't pick back up on watching it. There's things about it that I enjoy. There's certain relationships that I like, certain casting that I think that the people have a good vibe with what they're doing. But the problem is, there's just, I think, inherently an oddity. Like, I can't fully engage with something where I'm like, why are we doing all the Batman villains before Batman's around? And, some of the things they do with Batman, you go, I don't want to see Batman kind of whining as a 14-year-old arguing with Alfred. So there are things I didn't like. And so I wish I had finished. I wish I would have stuck with it a little bit better. And, people asked me to rank the seasons. I would have to rewatch the whole show. And it would be homework for me. It's not one I'm invested enough in to be able to just do that. So, unfortunately, that's kind of where I'm at on it. I don't hate it. I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't mind watching it as it was, but having to rewatch the whole thing, I wouldn't want to do that. Aaron Tuda, have you seen Red Sun? What she's talking about, or she is talking about, is the new DC adaptation of Krypton Red Sun. No, I have not. It was very close to happening, but you can't rent it right now, and I can't buy a physical copy, back to our physical copy discussion. And so I would have had to just buy a digital copy for $20 to watch it, and I'm not going to do that. And not that I've never pirated a movie before, but I feel it would be very immoral for me to do that in my current position in the world, to endorse anything that would partake in piracy, especially to further my career. That I don't think that I'm not going to do that. And so it's frustrating, because if it was $10 digital, I'd go for it. If it was rent it for $6, I'd do it. And even if I could get that physical copy, I'd probably go for it. But I haven't seen it, literally just because of the way they released it. And I would have gone and seen it in the theater if they'd done a Phantom event here for $12 or whatever. But $20 for a physical or digital copy is something I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. I'm not going to do that. Isaac Peterson, Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad? I haven't seen Game of Thrones, so we got to go with Breaking Bad. Radford Rams, do you have a 4K player? Actually, I don't. I don't have a 4K player. So some of my discs, I buy the 4K version, but I'm just future proofing. It's on my mind a lot to get a 4K TV, because the TV like I have in here is like this $50 thing I got at a garage sale. The one downstairs is a really nice 1080 TV. And so I'm ready to get rid of this thing, move the downstairs TV in here, get a 4K. But I have an air conditioner that I bought while my wife was pregnant a year and a half ago that we have a debt on. So I want to pay off my air conditioner before I make any big purchases. And so there's a couple things like that to link. So, but I don't have a 4K player. I don't have good enough eyes to even be able to probably see the difference between 4K and regular. Film Geeks with a super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Sean, are you seeing The Way Back? I see The Way Back Wednesday night. A press screening, I believe, is Wednesday night for that one. My review will be on Thursday. So just before everyone else gets to see it. But yes, I'm seeing The Way Back. I'm very excited to see The Way Back, and I'm seeing it right before everybody else says it. I think a day before everyone else says. If so, are you going to rank the Gavin O'Connor movies? No, I'm not going to rank the Gavin O'Connor movies. I'm trying to do a lot more director rankings, but I'm trying to. There's certain directors that feel like they have kind of that built-in fan base, or they're niche enough that they spark a level of excitement around them. And Gavin O'Connor, I don't feel is there yet. People love Miracle, people love Warrior, but he's not that guy that when you think directors, he's not a brand in and of himself outside of kind of the film community. So I never really even considered it. Like I looked at when he's got a new movie coming out, it's just not the right. He's not the right person to do that, I don't think, at this point in time. So, and the movie, The Way Back, it's not going to be a big enough hit, I don't think, to draw the momentum to it. It's not that it doesn't excite the box office. It's not the sort of one that'll excite my particular subscribers. So those are some of my thought processes on how I kind of decide to do some of these things. Scott Edwards, you watch all the Arrowverse shows? No, I do not watch all the Arrowverse shows. I've watched some of all the Arrowverse shows. I've given all of the Arrowverse shows a try. So I've seen every episode of Arrow. I'm a month behind on Flash. I haven't watched any Arrowverse since the crossover. Other than finishing up Arrow, I felt a little bit burned out, and so I'll catch up on Flash, and I'll continue doing probably review the season, rank the seasons, everything in May. Supergirl, I haven't watched any of this season. I don't think I'll keep watching any of it. It was just too much. I was doing homework, and so I didn't feel authentic watching it. It felt like I was doing something because I thought I'd get views, and I don't want to keep doing. I don't like doing that. I've only seen a few episodes of Black Lightning. I enjoyed what I saw I have to use the streaming app to watch them, and it didn't work very well for me. Like I was having trouble, so I fell far behind, and that's really why I haven't watched it. It came, whenever it launched, I just fell behind so early because I was having trouble watching it. And then Legends of Tomorrow, I've seen season 1 in little bits and pieces of the other ones. I just feel so far behind that I'll never catch up on it. Batwoman, I watched the first 8 episodes, and it felt like all the weak spots of the CW on full display, where they were making, instead of it being primarily about a superhero show, it was all about the melodrama, family drama, agendas. That came before superhero show. And they did a lot of stuff of like, let's prop up Batman and looks just to knock him over so we can show that Batwoman's better. And so I tried to like it. I tried to give it a fair shake, but it just kept doing the things that frustrate with me with these shows. But they're all have kind of burned me out as of recently. Majestic Demon, hello, Mr. Chandler. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Majestic Demon. I'm guessing that you will be in the Patreon live stream a little bit from now. If you don't know this, I'm only going to be on here for about 15 more minutes, and then I'm going to head over onto Patreon. If you join at any level, you can join that exclusive chat. There's normally 10 to 20 of us, so I can answer everybody's questions. Okay, what do we got? Gibby, what is your favorite horror movie of all time? I love the Scream movies. The first one in particular, I normally list as my favorite horror movie of all time. I have a ranking of my top 10 favorite horror movies. I tried to have a lot of some stuff and some smaller things, the obvious stuff. So it's a bunch of different, but I have a video with my 10 favorite horror movies. But Scream is the answer to your question. Nice spot. Thoughts on Clone Wars? Yeah, so I have technically seen all of Clone Wars. I've never been super invested in it. I think the first 2 seasons are way too much of someone's been kidnapped, let's go rescue them. Someone's crash landed on a planet, needs to be rescued. It's just not for me. And it starts getting interesting in those later seasons. I'm rewatching it right now, but I'm only in the middle of season 2. So I haven't gotten to some of the better stuff to give it a good proper watch, to have better thoughts on it. I have watched the 2 new episodes. That's now part of my family tradition with my son. It had been Mandalorian Fridays. After he gets off school, we watch Mandalorian. Now it's Clone Wars. So I've seen the 2 new episodes, and I enjoy those 2 episodes more than anything in the first 2 seasons. So those are some quick thoughts. The trailers and movies. Favorite Bond film, and thank you for the super chat. Favorite Bond film, easily Casino Royale. I just love the Craig's take on Bond. That's more grounded, still has great action. The parkour opening chase is the best action sequence in the whole franchise. Like Vesper that is a character, so that's the one to me that I think just does all the things that I love. Right now I'm watching through all of them. I am ranking each actor's movies as we're going through it. In a couple of weeks, the guy that I've been doing those videos with will be in Austin, so we're going to shoot Dalton Lazenby as well as Pierce Brosnan in the same week, so those will about 2 weeks out from that. And then, but yeah, Casino Royale is my favorite, and I'll be talking all the Bond stuff, ranking the Bond actors, all of that in April. Little bit of trouble with my browser, sorry. There's some technical issues you run into with trying to do this stuff. Makes it really stressful when there's 195 of you watching me right now, and from time to time, I can't even read things that that are on screen. Damian Kahn Scott, has Dark Phoenix grown on you? No, not at all. I mean, my feelings on it haven't changed. I didn't think they would change. I've watched it, I think 3 times now, maybe only 2 times, but I've definitely had 2 different takes on it. And the problem is it's just a movie that just doesn't have anything interesting to offer. There's just nothing there that for me to like change my mind on. There's things in it that are really forgettable, like the villains, and there's a few things that I like, and I'm just kind of pretty locked in at that level, that I don't see much of that changing any point in time. Jake Hagman, what is your favorite movie pre-1960? To state the obvious, you can watch my channel to figure out pretty quickly that's not really my strong point. And so if you even said 60s, I could have a lot more options to you for ones that like I get excited about. Pre-1960, filmmaking was just so different where it was at, even the way that things were shot, acting was done. I feel even giving answers when I'm like, oh, Citizen Kane, that's a really cool movie that's well made and I can respect what they did with it. But I'm giving an answer like that. I definitely don't have a definitive answer that would feel like an authentic one. Awesome Cool Guy, do you like the movie Gladiator? Of course I do. Anything that's got a revenge plot line to it with a tough guy doing his thing, I'm always going to love something like that, especially if it's like graphic violence. It also came out right as I was a blockbuster role. He'd done acting before that, but like a blockbuster that was a massive hit. That's the one that put him on the radar for me. So yeah, definitely like that one. Alrighty, got a super chat from Adam Rosler. What's your thoughts on how the X-Men will join the MCU? Will it be a major plot device in an Avengers movie, or will it be maybe Doctor Strange sequel? I don't necessarily have a definitive theory. Certainly nothing I'd bet on. My feeling is the direction that they would go with it is that something involving the snap did kind of fracture things just a little bit. The stuff that they used as the red herring in Far From Home, I think that will have some ramifications and truth to it, to where the world is starting to change a little bit because of that, or perhaps some of this multiverse of madness is going to be some way in which what we're seeing changes and what's happening. Because otherwise you just run into trouble if you say that for 50 years Charles Xavier has been in upstate New York training these superpowered people, and then we haven't seen them in 23 movies plus TV shows, especially TV shows about tracking down people like that. You think you run into problems. So I think you have to tie it to something changed because of the snap. Something has to change in the universe for it to make sense. So I would gravitate in that direction. The Random Dude, best antagonist, Hans Gruber, of course, the terrorist, non-terrorist heist guy with all the swagger, taking on John McClane in Die Hard. You got to go with Hans Gruber on that one. Hans Solo. Have you seen Harley Quinn series? I have not. I haven't seen any of the Harley Quinn series. I've been too busy. Lucas McQueen, will you ever collaborate with Chris Stuckman? I, of course, would love to. He's 10 times my size, so right off the bat, that would be an incredible honor and just mean the world to me if he thought I was interesting enough to collaborate with. I've said this many times before. I met him at Fantastic Fest last September. He was sitting in the theater, and it was pretty open, so I walked up like, hey, man, can I sit next to you? He's like, sure. So I got to talk to him for about 20 minutes, which is pretty cool. And then I don't want to say too much more. I don't want to. What I can say is I have communicated with him within the last couple of months about doing something, and he was positive towards it. There's no deadline. It's not definitive, but I have reached out to him, and he was positive with his response. But it was a yes, but here's the window. That's all I can really say about that. I would love it. I would be so honored if that plays out. That would be incredible. I would love to be able to talk movies with him some more and create great content for you. So that's what I can say about that. Oh, questions. Face School, have you seen The Call of the Wild? I have not seen The Call of the Wild yet. I've been trying to watch it all week. It just hasn't happened yet. It's been on my mind. It's been intentional. Even today I've been looking at the times to see if there's a time I can go, but just the way the universe has played out, it just hasn't happened yet. James Gordano, who's more annoying, Skylar or Marie? So this is a Breaking Bad question. Both depending on which half of the series. First half of the series, Marie by 10 miles. Second half of the series, probably going to go with Skylar by about 10 miles. Trav Max Fun, thoughts on Claws? Haven't seen it yet. My kids watched it. I missed it. I didn't know everyone was going to love it, and so I missed it, unfortunately. Apparently, it turned out to be this fantastic movie that didn't happen. Movie Guy 99, you gave a super chat, but you didn't ask a question, so hopefully I can catch somewhere in the... If you got something, I'll try and catch it. David, thoughts on Better Call Saul? I have seen most of season 1. I would like... My plan in life is to, whenever the last season is happening, so I think they split this one in 2 or the next one's the last one, I want to watch through all of it and do a season ranking whenever that happens. But I don't really have thoughts on it. I've seen like 8 episodes. I dug what I was watching and stopped because I didn't have, I don't have cable still, so the way I have to watch it is behind, and so it's not, that's the reason why. So hopefully something will happen. Florida Coasters, are you hyped for the Eternals? So the MCU has changed my life. I have this channel because of the MCU. It grew because of the MCU. My fan base came from the MCU. And they're movies that I love, that I respect, and have tons of things to talk about with them. So I'm always going to be, not always, for any foreseeable future, I'm always going to be pumped for anything in the MCU because I think Kevin Feige has just done a great job taking things that I don't know anything about and making them so enjoyable for the masses. I don't know anything about the Eternals, so they're beyond my knowledge of the comic books. Actually, one of my friends, Andy, he's done some videos with him. He's actually researching the Eternals and new things about the Eternals, and so my plan is whenever the Eternals come out, the first trailer comes out, to do a video with him a day or two later where he kind of walks us through the Eternals and what to know, and he'll answer all of my questions. So I'm excited because it's an MCU movie and I trust Feige. As for if independent from that, if it was Fox, Fox pre-merger, Fox is doing the Eternals, I'd be like, I don't know what that is. I'm not excited for that. But just because I have so much trust in the MCU, I'm of course very excited. Some of you guys are still spamming me questions that I've already answered. I'm Flora Coaster. I just answered your question. You're still asking it. Don't do that. Caleb Cook, do you think there will be another Terminator movie? Man, I think it'll be a while. I think that they had a big wake-up call opening weekend. When that movie was the weakest opening ever, they thought, we've got James Cameron, we got Linda Hamilton, we're ignoring all this other stuff, and then they put the movie out there, and people were like, we're just done with your franchise. And that was very much what it was. It was franchise fatigue, and people just feel so burned. I think what I say is I think they need to wait, maybe even maybe just 4 years from now, 40-year mark, you do almost like a Blumhouse style, not necessarily Blumhouse Productions doing it, but I wouldn't be opposed to that. Blumhouse style remake, reboot, new continuity. Maybe you get Leigh Whannell to do it. And the budget is under $30 million. It goes back to its roots. And, I'm not tied to that, but under $50 million. But you reset the thing and go back to the horror ground level roots. You stop trying to make a big blockbuster out of it. You make a movie that only needs $100 million and it's very profitable. That's what you do. They got spoiled by T2 and they got the wrong message that Terminator movies have to be big spectacle blockbusters when the original one just wasn't that. It was a slasher movie with sci-fi elements that was low budget for being a sci-fi horror movie. You do that again. That's what I want him to do. In fact, this whole Leigh Whannell Blumhouse thing, maybe that's... As I said that, I'm thinking, I actually really like that idea. I hope that happens. I just got a couple more minutes in here, and then I got to take off. So if you join over on Patreon, once this ends, I'm heading straight over to Patreon. I'll be talking another hour. I'll answer as many questions as people have for me. Adam Gunther with a super chat. Thank you so much. Have you seen Doom Patrol? I've seen the first episode, and I kind of enjoyed it, but it was also a little bit crass, so my wife wasn't crazy about it, and so I just didn't keep watching it. I'm curious, but it didn't pull me in enough to be like, man, I can't wait to watch the next episode. All of the stuff I've seen that are originals from the DC universe have kind of frustrated me a little bit, kind of like that. Sorry about that. Dang team. Sean, you're one of my favorite YouTubers, and you made me want to pursue a career in film. Maybe one day you will review a movie I've directed. That would be amazing. How cool would that be? If something like that happened, that someone that got started inspired because of my love of movies, went off, made a movie, and I reviewed it. That would be pretty incredible. And I don't have anything quite that elaborate in the way my life is played out or anything like that. But, even just with the platform I have, just this last week, John Flickinger followed me on Twitter and stuff like that. Like, what? He mentioned me in one of his live streams. It was like, what? I have those little moments of, feel like I'm living the dream. I was the fan in all the live streams, watching the videos, commenting, and, people now kind of care what I have to say about things. Jack Fustenberg, what's one movie you think deserves a sequel? Dread from a few years back, the Carl Urban one. I'll kind of go controversial. I want to see a Terminator Dark Fate sequel. It's not going to happen, but I wanted to see where that was going. Man of Steel, of course. Man of Steel is just like, why are we doing all these other things and not doing a proper Man of Steel sequel? There's three of them right there that are just like, why is this not happening? My brain. Wiley Todd, with the super chat. Thank you so much. Wiley Todd, worst James Bond movie, watching for the first time through and love them just now on Your Majesty's Secret Service. Okay, let me pull this up because I'm watching through them right now. I'm through Dalton is where I'm at. So this isn't 100%. This isn't necessarily what will be in my ranking that comes out in April. But as of right now, the two on the bottom are A View to Kill, that he was just way too old. He was like 57, 58 years old, still dating a 24-year-old, 25-year-old in the movie. He was too old, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't buy into it. And The Man with the Golden Glove. Christopher Lee is in that one, which is pretty cool. And then everything else about it was pretty shoddy. So when I think potential also ones that could be at the bottom, The World Is Not Enough. I haven't seen it since the theater. And the fourth one, the one with Halle Berry. I haven't seen those since the theater. I remember just really not liking them. So those ones might be pretty low on there too. I don't know if they'll be worse than those ones, but those ones of the ones that I haven't rewatched, I would guess would be the lowest of the batch. But I actually watched on Her Majesty's Secret Service this week as well. Okay, final question on here. Movie Guy 99, have you seen the movie Parental Guidance? Unfortunately, I haven't. I'm not actually even sure which movie you're talking about. So I really, unfortunately, have nothing to kind of offer on that one. I'll do real quick, give some quick takes, and then I'm heading over to Patreon. Join at any level, even just $2, and you can join in on that one. Beast in Gaming, do you think Spiral from the Book of Saw will be good? So I saw the trailer for the first time in front of The Invisible Man. I'm watched Saw 1 through 6 in the last 2 weeks. I'm feeling of the Saw, compared to the Saw movies we've seen thus far, it'll probably be in my top 3. That's what I'm predicting. It's going to be top 3. They're getting better actors, and that's caring about the characters is such an important piece for these ones watching. Cyberhacker, what's your favorite Star Wars show? Mandalorian, no question, no debate. Dorito Chip Gamers, Dorito, my voice cracked. I'm losing it. Voice cracked. Have you seen the Candyman movies? I have not seen any of the Candyman movies at all. I don't know. I'm counting the number of questions I'm answering at the end here. I haven't seen any of the Candyman movies. Saw the trailer for the new one. Didn't really know how to compare it because I haven't seen some of that other stuff. Do you know do you like anime? Not really. I'm not an anime person, unfortunately, so I don't have a more satisfying answer for you on that one. Expectations for Stranger Things season 4? I don't really have any. I have no expectations whatsoever. Kylo Ren, favorite Harry Potter movie? I have a ranking of the Harry Potter movies. Once this is done, you can head on over there and find out the answer to that one. But that's actually one of my least favorite rankings. I don't think I did it very well. I think I made some mistakes on it. So the stuff, especially the low stuff, I messed up. The top 3 or so, those are my top 3. Caleb Mason, do you have a letterbox? Yes, I have a letterboxed. It's just my name. So there's that. And finally, Vincent Lambros with the super chat. Thank you so much. Which movie do you like better, Dunkirk or 1917? I don't really like the comparison. The two movies are compared because they each kind of have a gimmick in how they're told. And then they're war movies that are very visceral in nature. But they're about 2 different wars. They're very different films, so I don't like to compare them. They're both very good. I haven't seen Dunkirk since the theater. I haven't seen 1917 since the theater. So I don't really have a good answer for you. I have my initial reaction to them, which was, man, that was a great experience in the theater. That's not the type of movie that I tend to rewatch, though. Those are movies that I love the experience of seeing that in the theater. So I'll be rewatching Dunkirk leading up to Tenet. So maybe that'll kind of change my thoughts on it. My gut reaction as of this moment that has newness bias would be 1917. I think I'd edge out 1917, but I don't want to do a comparison. So right off the bat, I'm not crazy about doing that. All right, I'm signing off on here. Join any level on Patreon, and you can ask multiple questions, and I'll get to them. That'll be over there. Normally 10 to 20 people. I'll go for another hour, and talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.